It might be needs-based negotiations.
Ooh, excuse me.
Hang on, video.
There to get to 8.3 first.
Okay.
That's that, right?
Yep.
Okay. We'll grab my stuff and leave.
You
don't have to, yeah, you
can
can hang out.
She'll be here.
Yeah. Sherry will be here at 3:45.
We were just talking to her and she had something she had to take care of real quick.
I will shut the door.
Thank
Is
you.
she still joining via Zoom?
Mhm.
Okay.
I only scheduled it for 1 hour on Zoom.
I don't think we should, yeah.
I love that it's only recording them too.
No.
Pointing right at you. It's zoomed in on you.
Hey, you turned it.
Oh, no, get it out of here.
It turns by who's speaking. So if I keep talking, it'll.
I hate this. Yeah, I do agree. Is that better?
Hold on, hold on.
And then where do these go? You have to put them on the website?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, this will be fun.
Oh, there she is.
There she is.
How do I let her in?
I'll be in.
I don't know, click on the three.
4 situations that we were on.
Put in, I don't want to. Sherry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
We can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself?
Call Becky there.
Okay, can you hear me now? No?
We can't hear you.
Okay. Okay, how about now? Can you hear me now?
No.
Excuse me.
Hmm.
Oh, shit. Yes, I know.
You need to zoom her in on the phone? We all find it?
Does she at least have like a typing option? That would be harder to deal with, but at least there would be a option.
Well, she left. Maybe she's going to sign outside. She's coming back. She's unmuted.
Hey,
According
can you
to
hear me
this.
now?
I'm gonna try joining.
Hello?
Oh, turn
Can
your
you hear me?
volume up. Did you turn it down when it was reversed?
Recording in progress.
So can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm on my phone. I was on my laptop and it wasn't, for some reason, wasn't connecting to my Bluetooth.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I could hear you guys, but you couldn't hear me. So I didn't want to have to hold my phone up the whole time, but that's okay. It's all good. I might go off camera if I need to set it down. Okay.
Can you still see if I minimize my screen? Because I have to take minutes.
I mean, nothing changed for me just now if you did it. So
Okay.
I can see Michelle really well.
Oh,
The rest of you are off the screen, or behind
Fabulous.
computers. So.
Perfect.
really?
No,
Don't?
I like seeing Michelle. Let me see somebody. Oh,
Okay.
I see your laptop really well. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Don't look for me.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So
Okay.
Shannon, you're sitting behind the Dell. Who's to your right?
Cammy?
It's me.
Okay. And is Tess by Michelle on the other side?
No,
Katie.
Or excuse me, Tess. I meant Katie. Oh, my brain. I need to wake up. Okay. I'm with you.
I've had a different person every year.
Hi. Yes, it is.
I did it with you one
Okay.
year.
I mean, like,
Oh,
partner
that was
wise,
good.
because I had Tess, Brenda, and Katie.
Okay.
Cammy, Tammy, I'm gonna rely on you to take notes and have documents out and stuff since I have to be on my phone and I'm not at a desk or anything, okay?
Yep, you're
I
good.
just have a
'Cause
little-
I'm
little
relying
tiny
on
notebook.
Shannon, so we're good.
Okay, awesome.
Yay!
Let's
Alright,
go.
Ready to start?
Yep, go for it.
All right, do you want to start? It always starts just a little bit different. Do you want me to kind of just go over the first bullet point and we can kind of just chunk it from there? So the first thing we would like to negotiate was section 8.3. I believe Shannon sent something about the contract to Wendy, about how it didn't mesh up with discretionary days. So we went through the contract and we want it to remain sick leave in the wording. 8.3D stated that you need a physician's note. But we do want a sick bank. So I think that's why we left it from last year after Brenda and I combed it with Shannon and whoever else. Because we do want to have something to fall back on for when people are actually sick. Like,
So you're okay with, like, in 8.2, have it be discretionary leave instead of sick leave?
correct.
And you're okay with the personal needs to be changed to discretionary, sick to discretionary, personal and sick equals discretionary.
Where are you at? Sorry.
These 8.2, B, C, and D. What you're saying is 8.3, you want to leave it just sick.
We didn't talk about 8.2. So we will have to go back and talk about 8.2.
Okay.
So so as I understand it, that's something that was left over from last year, right?
Right.
Changing the, okay,
yes.
the 8.2.
So right now it says, hold on, I'm looking, 8.2B, personal leave will not be granted the day before or after a holiday. So to change that to discretionary leave.
Okay, so personal to discretional.
Discretionary, yeah.
Yeah, discretionary in B. And then C, unless terminated for a cause, teachers leaving employment of the district will be reimbursed for unused sick leave they have accumulated at the rate of 25%. So it needs to be changed to discretionary leave because you guys no longer have sick leave in your own personal bank.
Okay, sorry. Because, could you repeat the reason why?
Because you guys no longer have sick leave in your own personal banks.
Personal banks, okay.
Yeah, it's all labeled, I merged it all into discretionary. Okay.
So I do have to take that back. So
Okay.
we just have to.
But that's what we
discuss
agreed on last year though, right?
That's what we agreed on last
Yeah,
year.
we already
The
agreed.
wording
Okay.
is just, the wording just never got changed.
that. Okay, so we just need to change wording.
Mm-hmm. And then 8.3, we're leaving the same because you guys want to leave sick leave bank.
Correct.
So
Okay.
the sick leave bank is the one that they can all put their extra in.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yes.
So that you'll still have a sick leave bank for emergencies, but you
Mhm.
personally don't have sick leave or personal leave. It's just discretionary
Yes.
what you use it for.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep, and then we have the option to, I think we decided last year you could buy out.
Yeah,
only a
that's all
certain
the-
amount,
Yeah.
But the rest can.
Mm-hmm.
So where it states that you need a physician's note, you want to keep it that way, Michelle?
Yes, that was kind of just like our reasoning as to why we want to leave it.
Okay,
as sick
to
leave.
say sick. Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I'll take 8.2
Okay.
back.
Didn't I send that to you?
I think you did.
Yeah.
I think is that what yeah, we'll just take it back.
Yeah.
Maybe we talked about that was what we just needed to change.
Yeah, I
So
think.
I don't see an issue with leaving that sick bank or whatever.
Right.
Since I don't have it in front of me, is it like a certain number of days, just out of curiosity, that you can donate?
55, you can accumulate.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm sorry, to the sick leave bank. Is there a certain number of days you can donate to? Is it like as a case comes up, you donate to that person? Or is it more like you can donate up to like 5 days per year in the bank and then
No.
There
the union
isn't
decides?
a max that you can donate. It doesn't
Okay, specify.
specify anywhere in here at any point. It's
Okay.
just that once you accumulate 55 days, you have to donate your overage into the sick leave
Gotcha.
bank.
Okay.
Since we're still talking about the wording
Yeah.
from last year, I also talked about 9.5 professional money. It didn't get changed last year. It should read a pool of 4,000, not 400 per teacher.
Should read a pool of How much?
4,000,
4,000,
not 400 per teacher.
not 400 per teacher.
And this is all stuff that was agreed last year that just didn't get changed in the
Okay,
contract.
so I'll just let them know. We agreed to this last. Sorry, I am not used to typing with nails. This is really hard. We agreed to this last year. And just need to fix the wording. Okay. All right, are we good on that?
Yeah, so as far as the 8.3,
Mhm.
keeping it sick, totally fine.
Yeah.
We're okay
Okay.
with that.
Okay, so we approve. Okay. I'm gonna skip the money one.
Did, Cami, did we bring up the? Yeah. Real quick, while we're on sick leave, or I'm sorry, discretionary leave. Shannon, would this be the time to talk about our idea of increasing that
Well, we
number?
can, unless we want Michelle to
Or
go
would that
over all
come
of
fall
her.
under something else?
We could let Michelle go over all of her bullet points and then we can go over our bullet points after that.
Oh, gotcha. Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
I like keeping the money one personally for the last bullet point, so I'm gonna skip
Let's
that
save
one.
that till the
So we're gonna jump to flex arrival and departure times. A few people did some research, and we collectively came up with what we would like it to be, upon your approval.
What does that look
Um,
like?
So it's the paragraph that I have there.
Right.
So this would go, I believe, into the teacher contract.
What you've written here or like
Yes.
specific times?
So it's to have flex time for arriving and departing. So it's basically the wording in the paragraph. Do you just want me to read it? Does that make
So it's
sense
like
here?
your workday, 7.1, where it says 30 minutes before teacher.
Yes,
Yes, so it's this
yes.
piece.
Sorry. So we would change all of that, basically 7.1 to
read
this.
To
this.
read that. So I think what we talked about, instead of calling it flex time, right now it reads 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after. Instead of doing that, doing something like 15 minutes before and
Well, in the paragraph, we have it written as 10 minutes. Okay, so the teacher will be expected to complete classroom instruction, preparation, and administrative tasks. Start and end times are flexible, provided that the teacher is present during all scheduled instructional periods, parent conferences, and required meetings and duties. All professional responsibilities are completed in a timely and satisfactory manner. A general availability window 10 minutes before student arrival and 10 minutes after student departure. The teacher collaborates with administration to ensure the students' needs and school operations are fully supported. So you're looking at like,
so then
A
what's the
10-minute
flexible
buffer.
part? Like, what are you talking about?
So it would be like, generally speaking, you're gonna try and get here, but you won't. How right now, how she's having to keep track of the arrival and departure, making sure that we're exactly 30 minutes. You're not gonna get dinged if you are, like, say you get here 8 minutes before. That's gonna,
So then that puts it on,
it puts it on the staff because they still have to get everything done. They have to get everything done and they have to be here for their duties. Like I have a morning duty. So I have to be out there 15 minutes before. I have to make sure I am here for my duty. So, but then I could just leave after 10 minutes. Right?
yeah, because I have after school duty, so I could show up maybe 10 minutes before school starts. As long as I'm here to do my responsibilities. And a lot of schools are actually moving to this. And also with a longer day, you're talking 8 to 4.
Mhm.
So you're talking
Sorry,
being here
go ahead. Mm-hmm,
7:40
mm-hmm,
to 4:30.
mm-hmm.
If you were to keep those 30-minute windows,
right,
that makes for an
Right.
extremely long day on our part.
right.
And we already do that anyways for the most part, but we don't want the
Locked in.
be
Yeah.
here 30 minutes prior, 30 minutes after.
And then also, admin's gonna have to continue to find some way to monitor teacher presence. Instead of just saying during observation, it looks like they're getting everything done. It looks like they're getting their grading done. It looks like, for example, I take a lot of my stuff home or I take it with me on my sports stuff, but I stay till 4 because I have to. But
Mhm.
I take a lot of it home to get it done when I have the free time.
Mhm.
Whereas, and then I get everything done, right?
So I hear what you guys are saying, and I get the need for flexibility to an extent, and especially the longer day. We don't want you guys to have like an extremely longer day. That
Get
seems
here at 6 and stay till
that seems
6.
ridiculous, right? Right. So we get
Not
so
what we're
we get-
saying.
so I get that, but I also, here's what I'm thinking from an administrative standpoint. It's already really kind of tricky to have the administrator make sure people are following that. And if even the 10-minute cushion thing, that somebody's going to have to be tracking that. Like you said, Katie, like knowing that those duties are getting done. If there's a different sort, it's almost like having an IEP for, 15 different kids. You have 15 different teachers doing, you know what I mean, kind of their own flexible schedule. How is anybody supposed to keep track of that? Because day to day it changes. So I just see it being kind of hard to say. I guess I'd just like to simplify it, I guess, if we could. Maybe say everyone starts, whether we say 10 minutes or 15 minutes before the school day begins. And then actually Cami and I and Shannon were having the idea of why do you need to stay after once your kids are dismissed? Like maybe everybody just participates in dismissal duties and then you can go or you can stay. Like that could be the flexible part.
It's not equitable. You can't just have everybody, because then you'd have to have everybody on a morning duty. Like
So-
the reason.
No, not morning. I'm talking dismissal
Right.
time.
We have-
Everybody helps with dismissal.
Right.
Everybody helps with dismissal. And then they can leave.
I totally get that. But the reason I say
Okay.
it's not equitable is because you have to have duties split up between teachers,
Right.
which is why we have some in the morning and some in the afternoon. If
And
you
some
have
at lunch.
everybody in the afternoon, then you have some people who are doing more duties because then you don't have anybody in the morning.
Okay. I guess I misunderstood. I thought what was
Okay.
happening currently is that different days of the week, different teachers had morning duty.
No,
And then after school, everyone, all hands on deck
no,
for dismissal.
It's
No,
arrival.
that's how it used to be. So,
no.
okay,
Arrival
gotcha.
duty is the middle school teachers. Then lunch duty is like a paras and other teachers, like specials teachers. And then in the
Mhm.
afternoon, we have mostly the elementary school teachers are out there. So it's all different,
Okay.
which
I
is why
understand.
we were coming up with like you said, the flexible thing, because if I have morning duty, I have to be here early in the morning, but then I could just leave right after school. And then if Michelle has after school duty, she doesn't have to be here till,
10
7
minutes before or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like
Okay.
what Sherry's talking about as far as the flexibility,
Mhm.
that benefits you guys greatly. But then as far as from a administration standpoint, how do you keep track of all of that? And you hope that everybody's doing the right thing, but I can tell you over the years, I've dropped my kid off and left and their teacher's pulling up.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so I think from an administration
Mhm.
standpoint, I see where I feel like flexibility is good, but it still has to have like limits.
So this was Julia's idea. So I don't know.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
we can talk a little bit with her about it, but she
Mhm.
was more for I'd rather have a flexible thing and making sure everybody is getting their stuff done, because if you're not
Mhm.
to duty,
Mhm.
being right
Yeah.
on your
So maybe it could be something as simple as like put it back on the teachers to like maybe weekly kind of turn in a like this was my schedule this week, or this is how I flexed my time, or I took things home, or what, I don't know, like, and turn that in, and then she's just got a record of like, okay, you said you got these things done. I don't know.
I don't know if the best thing is to put more task on the teacher.
Or the administrator. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I like the idea. Don't get me wrong. I get it. And I like the idea. I'm just trying to see how can we make sure that some people aren't taking advantage, right? Not you guys
Right now.
necessarily. What's the what?
So what's her system right
She
now?
stopped doing, she doesn't do that anymore.
I think she kind of spot checks arrival and dismissal times,
'Cause I don't
like,
see how it would be any different. It would just be a narrower window.
because how does she know when
Fire.
people are supposed to be arriving and leaving? If it's flexible,
Oh, she doesn't know
right? If
she's
it's,
supposed to be there at
if it's different
7:50
every
or
day.
8:05.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like if let's say Katie says, I want to take all my work home and I want to
No.
leave as soon as the kids do at the end of the day. And then the other person's like, well, I don't want to be here before school starts, but I'm going to stay an hour after school every day. You know what I mean? Like is she supposed to kind of track all that? Or what do you have in mind for, like Katie was saying, making sure that all the duties,
Well, as
all the
long as
things are
you're
getting
here for your
assigned?
duty, she knows the duty.
How much time do you guys each have for your duties per week?
15, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, about
Once a
I have
week?
15 minutes
Every
no,
day.
Every day. Yeah, every day.
Every day
Every
I have a
morning.
15-minute duty at the end of the day.
Like she has 15 minutes in the
And
morning,
I
she's 15 minutes in the
also-
Yeah,
afternoon.
and she's recessed.
Well,
And
yeah.
then we have recess duties. So all in all, I have about a 30-minute duty split
Okay.
in which I do my duties.
Mhm. Well, if it was her idea, maybe we just need to I need to
I
understand
mean,
maybe
we
what
can
she's
ask
thinking.
her what an easy system would
Mhm.
be. I just don't think
Right.
it needs to be as complicated
Yeah,
as.
I agree with going to a 4-day and the day being longer. Yeah, I don't think you
Yeah.
can get here at 6 and leave at 6. That's
Well,
not
and
what
I
I'm saying.
think, I know I'm being recorded, but I think conversation has happened about having the paras do morning duty
Mhm.
because they're hourly and they're to kind of help make up some of their loss.
Given their hours.
Yeah, to give them their hours, more hours. But that's not set in stone
I
or
know.
anything. That's just an idea.
Well, and here's the thing, like how early do we want kids to be able to arrive now that the school day is starting so much earlier? Maybe we
School
don't
day's
want
not-
them.
The school day's not starting earlier. It's the same time.
Oh,
We're
it
just-
is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 8:05 to 4.
Okay, I'm sorry. I haven't seen the draft schedule yet.
Yeah,
I thought somebody said
so
7.
8:05
I thought somebody said 7:30 and I was like, oh gosh, that's
No.
early. Okay. Okay.
So
Never
I
mind.
put that we could, I just put that we can brainstorm ideas that would make
Yeah.
it accountable
Mhm.
and easier for everyone.
Yeah.
I just think because and having the wording about the video surveillance, her not having that aspect to make sure everybody's, because we all hope that everybody does their
Yeah.
part, right? We
Yeah.
all do,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
none of us are perfect. So I think
Yeah.
without that way, there has to be some kind of parameter,
Mhm.
you know?
And then
I
it has
just
come
think
back. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, you can continue, Sherry.
I was just going to say, and I know it has come back to us, not necessarily in recent years, but in the past about the equity thing and, like people getting really kind of bent out of shape about, and I would too, like if I were in your position, if I was doing all my duties, all my job, everything, and the person down the hall for me was not, and they were skipping out and there's no recourse because of the flexibility policy, then that isn't
Sucks.
okay either, right? Like that's not equitable either to be put in that
I just
position
think
of
of
like,
the 10-minute thing as like, we
Yeah.
have a job just like anyone else. And when you think
mhm,
to any other job, you have a 10-minute buffer window in which you clock in for the day. So that's how I see it, is that,
mhm.
What job is
Yeah.
that? I never had that.
but we
oh.
don't actually,
No.
clock in is the
Mm-mm.
thing, right? Like that's
I've always had
that's
a
the
10-minute
difference.
buffer.
Yeah.
I worked at
Yeah.
the bank. You got there on time or you're in trouble.
Yep.
Well, no,
Mhm.
it's 10-minute, like
10 minute before your start time.
Yeah.
Before your
Okay.
start time.
before you start, like you
Okay.
have 10 minutes where you can clock in early, but you had to be.
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay, that
But
makes
you
sense.
had a
I'm like,
10-minute window in
We
which.
thought you were saying a 10-minute grace period. Like,
Oh,
no, really.
no,
I'm
no,
like, that is-
sorry. I was
The
like, I
buffer.
don't know about anybody else, but I've always been able to show up 10 minutes early and you're fine, but that's just.
I'll admit that I would have been probably one of them taking advantage of the 10-minute grace period because I'm not great about being on time.
No, I think we had like a 2-minute grace period where you clocked in, but that's not, that's.
So I feel like we're not too far apart on this one. I feel like we can
agree.
probably make it work. We just need, just kind of
More
logistics, I guess.
clarity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. I can
Yeah.
definitely ask for that. Need more clarity. Should we
More-
move on?
more clarity on how
Yeah, on how
On what
to.
it looks
It will
track it.
be
how
sort
to
of
track and
like
hold
how you're
accountable.
accountable, how people are held accountable to
Yeah.
doing their responsibilities or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so policy 3235, video surveillance does not match our contract. we would like to take out the wording or of a staff member's personal record in paragraph 3. We are currently drafting up a new 3235.
So the
So are you
32,
talking about
35, that's the
board-
board policy?
Board policy?
It
has to be a board
Yeah.
policy.
So you guys can't draft board policy.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So you could make the contract, recommend that the contract match board policy,
oh, I
or,
think we're talking about like a proposal.
Yes.
okay,
for
asking the board to
3235.
change.
Sorry.
The policy
Okay,
goes against what the contract says or something.
And that they should line up.
Yeah, and
So do you have
they
that,
should.
like what it should look
Yeah.
like then?
Well, we're currently working on.
They're
a
looking
new
at others.
proposal, But we.
And I agree they should line up, but I think sometimes that board policy is like required language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
there's-
can't
you can't
necessarily change it. So you need to see if that policy has an R by it, or if it's optional or whatever, right? So like how much flexibility do we
Like,
have on
whether
that
it's
one?
required.
Mhm.
I'm going right
Okay,
now.
So some wording if it's required.
I'm looking right now.
Oh, Shannon's gonna look it up for
can
us, hold on.
change it.
Yeah,
So I have a question on you. So then if it goes against our contract, we'd have to change the contract, right?
I would think so.
yes.
I thought contract trumped policy.
Well,
Well, it
Or
has to
it was
align with, so my understanding is it has to align with policy, but it can go above and beyond or get more specific than policy, but it can't contradict policy. Is that right?
so
policy.
3235 is actually
Mhm.
video surveillance on students.
Oh,
It's under students.
Yeah,
Oh,
so we just
interesting,
wanted
okay.
to take out the wording or of a staff member's personal record in paragraph
Hmm.
3.
Where's the 1, 2, 3?
can somebody read that whole paragraph for me?
Yep,
so they don't
I'm
have
on it.
Okay.
The
Thank you.
district may choose to make video recordings a part of a student's educational record or a staff member's personal record. So you guys want to take that out.
Yes.
Okay. The district may comply with all the applicable state and federal laws related to record maintenance and retention. The following employees will have access to the system for monitoring, maintenance, and necessary retention: the principal, the acting principal, the office manager, the clerk, the board chair, and the vice chair. Responsibilities governing access to the system will be outlined in the employee's respective job description. And
Responsibilities governing access to the system.
Mhm.
Oh, so those employees above, it's
yeah,
there.
so we can access, so like if Rhonda comes in and says, hey, would you look at the camera in the gym during lunch and see if this happened?
Okay.
So all these people have access
Those
to go
people
do
can
that.
access it.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I see why they would want that out of there though. I
Right.
really
Yeah.
do,
Oh, yeah.
because that should be about student records and,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
monitoring student
Yeah.
behaviors and
Yeah.
things. So like why, yeah, that should not be in an employee record, but can we, maybe Shannon, could you find out if we're able to change that? Because I think we just drafted that, we just accepted that language as it was provided to us by
Correct.
MTSBA, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, let me go to 30, what is it, 3235 again?
Mhm.
Oh, for the love, come
Mhm.
here. Come here.
Wait, you accepted the language from what?
And it is not a required policy.
Oh, okay. We
And
accepted the language as provided to us,
By
like the
MTSBA.
model policy by MTSBA.
Mhm.
Montana
in
School
June
Boards
of 2023.
June of 2023?
Mhm.
So we can change the word.
So we didn't make any changes. We just accepted it as written, basically, as I recall. So,
So
Okay.
I'm okay with it.
So are you
off.
okay
But
if we draft something up and present it?
This is, but this policy is for student recording, so why would that have,
I don't
if
think
we
it's-
take that piece out
Yeah.
for employee, then this doesn't pertain to you guys at all.
So
Okay.
basically, at the
student.
next board meeting, we can put that on the agenda to remove that part of the
Yeah,
word, that
yeah.
board policy.
Yeah,
Okay.
So you
I don't
guys
think it really needs to be
draft it.
negotiated so
Oh.
much. It needs to be more of a board
yeah.
action
Yeah.
item, right?
Okay.
Yeah, if that makes sense. Yeah,
So that needs to go.
because
on.
it's not about, it was never intended to be about employee records
that's a student
or
thing.
monitoring. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I think the only reason we saw it is because,
Sorry.
we just wanted to talk about video surveillance. And so I think that
Mhm.
just came up when we were reading it.
Mhm.
We were
So is
like,
there video surveillance mentioned somewhere else too, or just that's the only one you saw?
I think the only one.
I thought that it was brought up that we needed to put something else in there.
So I wonder if that's why they want to draft something up.
Wonder if-
Probably.
Then just maybe let them know, just if
Okay.
it's not in the board policies then that would probably be in your,
It's Rhonda
Contract,
brought that up
basically.
At a board
Okay.
meeting that we needed something in there,
Oh,
remember?
yes.
but I don't think we ever.
I do remember we had a staff meeting in this and that we were at. And I remember one of the teachers reading, I think it was the union language, or could have been handbook language, maybe staff handbook. Anyway,
Yeah.
something didn't match board policy. And I remember us saying we need to make those match, however that looks. But yeah. So
Was there anything in your MEO contract about video surveillance?
I didn't, that's a great question.
That's what I'm looking for.
Mhm.
right now.
Oh, I cannot minimize. Okay, sorry. I can't access my desktop while I'm on Zoom.
Mhm.
It said no.
maybe I can open up my, I just don't really have a surface here.
No, you're okay. I'm trying to
See,
find
this
my
is
notes
why I
now.
like the first one, because then I can just be like.
You'd be like, look at all these pages of notes I took.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Okay,
So hold on, evaluation procedures.
we need to look at the MEO contract to see talks about surveillance. all.
It's basically just. No.
Okay,
If you see it missing.
so I'm writing, we need to look at the MEO contract to see if it talks about video surveillance at all. We Need to
Mhm.
make things align.
We just need to make sure that whatever
Yeah.
the policy is, it aligns with the contract.
Mhm.
But it's not
Agreed.
this policy because this policy has nothing to do with, once we remove that
Once
staff.
we-
So my guess is the only reason it's in there is probably there are districts that want, like, let's say there was an incident on the playground and a teacher intervened in the incident and was handling it or whatever. And maybe it didn't go so well. Maybe they wanted that to be able to be, even though it's about a student, because the teacher was involved, wanted it to be part of the teacher record, right? So that might be why it was kind of tossed in there, but I don't see the purpose if that policy is about student monitoring.
Yeah.
You know,
But there's in
Yeah.
your guys's in the MEO contract under, because you don't want it to be used for evaluations, basically. So then
Correct.
that's section 5. So then you guys should look over that if that's,
Mhm.
I don't see anything in there stating
Yeah.
that, but just so you know.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Okay.
Are we good with that one for now?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm just trying to hustle and bustle, so.
Kate,
Keep
you have
me
to leave.
here.
You have to leave in
Um,
30 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Got
so
this.
please do not be angry. I always hate this expression.
Nobody's angry.
So the last one on our list was a 3.5% raise off the base. Due to inflation, we have created 3 combo classes, a 5-6, a 1-2, a K1, and we are now down 2.5 teachers. The current cost of living in the state of Montana is $47,887 as of 2024. So, as far as I know, this is separate from the STARS Act. Like, this is completely separate. So
Okay.
So for
I
us,
just
it's
want to
not.
throw that out there.
Yeah.
For us, it's not because,
Correct.
have
That
you
impacts our budget.
would you-
It impacts
STARS
budget.
Act? Because
Yeah.
that's a huge
So,
impact on our budget.
The only thing I'm allowed to speak on is that we are voting tomorrow at an MEO meeting and you will have an answer then. So you will have an answer as of tomorrow
Okay.
evening, as far as I am aware.
So then without talking like percentages or numbers,
Mhm.
then I think we should let you guys know that as far as the STARS Act, if you guys don't choose to do the STARS Act, which keep in mind, make sure you have it in there, she needs to have your agreement to do it by May 15th, or else we lose that opportunity and all that funding.
Yeah,
If you choose to do the STARS Act, then we can talk numbers as far as implementing a raise. But if you don't do the STARS Act, in order for us to give a raise percentage wise across the board, we would have to look at lowering some benefits that we offer to people.
I have a question. Just to take.
Mhm.
So, we get 3% extra each year
Yep.
for the,
Go ahead. I got the answers because I just asked her
Okay,
the same
good.
question.
The steps.
yeah, so we
She's
get
got the numbers to
we
show
get the
you.
3% increase for housing and all that from the state
Yes.
for the teachers that qualify. So where does that
Wait,
go?
what? Say that again?
Yeah, the 3% increase that we get from the, what's that called? The STARS Act part of it. It's not
The MOU.
but it's the people who qualify who are the teachers that are qualified, extra qualified or whatever.
Well, the
Oh,
qualified,
highly qualified
Highly
educators.
Qualified educators.
That should be all of you. You should all be highly qualified educators.
That
Okay.
is the
Shannon,
quality- Isn't that the quality educator
Quality
payment?
educator
That's what we
payment,
get that
yep.
quality educator payment
Yeah.
for.
And doesn't
Mhm.
it increase every year, 3% for each?
So it increases every year by what?
It's yeah, it's
Is it
something like
3%?
that.
I don't know.
It might be around that, Katie, yeah. But Shannon, do you want to explain what
Yeah, so what
but
is
the
that
STARS Act would double that, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I know all
Yeah.
the.
Yeah,
the
they
STARS
understand
Act,
that.
I know all about
Okay.
that, but right now,
Okay.
currently get a
Mhm.
percent increase.
So you know what the
according-
quality
A little bit.
educator payment is per month?
Mhm,
It's like $3,000.
okay,
So,
so it's not our whole budget doesn't go up 3%.
no.
That's not what
it's-
that is. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's not even
It
enough
might be
to
three-
cover your 3% for even a month of your salary.
Okay,
It might be like $90, right? Or something. I don't know, a month
ask about that. 'cause it's not-
increase. Yeah.
Okay,
What did you hear?
I heard that you get a 3% off for each, but they're supposed to give 3% for each of the teachers who qualify extra
Mhm.
off of
Yeah.
your base.
Mm.
That's just what I was told, but I was checking.
Oh.
didn't know if
I
you
mean,
guys
all of the financial budget
Yeah.
classes I've been to, I've never
heard that.
I've
Okay.
never heard that.
So Katie, you're talking about that would go on to our salary schedule as opposed to just we get 3% more as a district in the
Yeah,
quality
it's
educator
supposed to
payment?
be part of the quality education that it increases for teachers 3% every year
4 teachers?
for the teachers.
Not FOUR.
Oh,
OR.
FOR. I'm all, what?
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna have to look into that. 'Cause that's new. Yeah. Mhm. New information.
It popped up when I was researching the STARS Act.
Mhm.
And so I was just wondering, because I know then that doubles.
Mhm. Yeah, that's just kind of like looking at preliminary budget. We're down
Yeah.
what 86,000 and whatever. And then yes, losing those FTEs of those 2.5 teachers does gain back, does help us recover that, but we don't really have any sort of a cushion, right? Like for contingencies, if we were to do raises, if we don't get some other source of funding, that's kind of where we're, unless we start looking like Cami said it, a smaller insurance stipends or things to kind of make a pot of money to redistribute into raises or something like that. So we'd have to get creative and sharpen our pencils in some interesting ways to give any kind of a raise if we don't have that guaranteed money, right? So that's what we're saying. Not that we don't want to, just
Right.
we don't know how we would.
Right.
Correct. Right, so are we good on that for now?
Do you guys have more questions about that? Because that's what
Not that we
I
are
came in to
able
talk to Shannon about it, and Sherry and I talked about it too, because that was the question, how, because our budget went down a lot, you guys know that. And that's why we're doing the combo classes, is because, we lost teachers and we just don't have the kids. But the reality is if you have 19 students next year and we get 2 more students, then we need to hire somebody, whether it's a para, whether it's another teacher, whatever the case may be. So yes, we've lost 2.5 teachers, just like the money part of it in my mind. Yes, we lost 2.5 teachers. So there's that money, but that money really isn't there because that's to accommodate more students and more teachers if we need it, or like having a para in a couple of classes. 1 para, that's 20 grand a year. You know what I mean? So it's not wanting to spend it all and then go, oh crap, we have a bunch of high needs kids coming in and we have no way to fund staff for them.
I'm wondering, I know it's not the whole 3%, but part of that would be steps, right? Because all teachers go down a step except for the people that are at the bottom. So that would help accommodate for part of that. I'm gonna look into it
Mhm.
because now I want to know.
Please.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Same.
Steps each year.
It depends.
Average based
It
on what they
depends. It
make.
depends on where they're at, on which, yeah,
Mhm.
all depends. Each cell is a different number.
Mhm. which is weird to me, but it's always been that way.
Yeah.
Variable. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay, I will definitely research that tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And if you
Got it?
can find what you found, Katie, and maybe send it to Shannon.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you were just Googling it or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be
Talk
super
with
helpful.
Shelley. Shelley has all of the
I'll
answers.
look into it and
It's
I'll-
a complicated, the whole thing is,
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
I was just wondering, I wasn't trying.
No, you're
No,
okay.
you're
It's
so
always good to
curious.
try to find out where those things come from and what they're meant
Right.
for and how they're being used.
Right.
That's always,
So, Shannon, because I haven't had a chance to do my full research on STARS Act, but I get it. I get the basics of it. But are there any strings attached other than the raising the lowest paid people to that certain amount? Is that the only string?
yeah, that's the
attached to
only,
that?
that's the only thing we have to do is raise our minimum teachers. The least amount a teacher can make is 41,615 next year.
Gotcha. Thank you.
What I-
That basically is like a slap to the face, in a way, I'm just throwing that out there.
What do you mean, Michelle? Explain.
Well, that's just like anywhere you go, like when I started at the bank, I was making 785 and then I was there for 5 years and they brought brand new tellers in at 1050. And
Right.
it's like, awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're
But-
saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we also just have to be mindful of
So what I was,
everybody.
Yeah.
when I was doing my
Yeah.
research on it, I mean, the actual intent is to increase all teacher salary. It's not meant to just bring, because then if you say you just bring the bottom up to 41,000, you're now forgetting about like what she's saying. She's been here, she's now, right, been dropped. So the real intent of the STARS Act is to increase all teachers' pay because you are wanting to keep teachers here at your rural
Mhm.
school. So
Mhm.
that's the
Yeah.
actual intent of why they passed it.
But the funny thing is they propose giving a certain amount to do this act, but that doesn't fund giving that raise to
Right.
everybody. It only funds giving it to
Yeah.
the select few.
Right.
It says
So
like
that's the hard
the
part.
base salary must be 62% of the average teacher salary.
Mm-hmm.
So you at least have to get to that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Okay. And we were thinking, I mean, I think we want to give everybody an increase. It may not be equivalent to those few people that are in that starting, 41, whatever. It might not be quite equivalent, but we're hoping to give everyone a raise. But we really don't see how we can find the money to do that without having that act, if that makes sense. So yeah, I
So
mean,
it
I
gives
know.
the select few the higher raise,
It
but it
does,
allows
for a
us
bit,
to give
yeah.
everybody a little something.
yeah.
Yeah. So it gets us closer to like the intent over time, maybe. But yeah.
Sorry. Somebody's calling the office. Sorry. Rings on my computer until they hang up.
All right. Multitasking.
Was that all of your bullet items, Michelle?
Yes, that was
Okay.
what we had. And
Okay.
once
Okay.
we have our vote tomorrow and we can give you some answers, that's kind of
Mhm.
all we have on the thing. I do know that there's tentative language that we are gonna want to change due to switching to a 4-day. I don't entirely know what that is yet. I'm just saying that that might come
Language in this.
in your contract. Yeah,
Yeah.
our contract.
Well, we have like
So,
we talked about
so
that.
on that note, we need to have you guys formally accept the 4-day that we voted on, correct?
I don't think so.
No, I think.
Yeah, because the way we made the motion was pending union agreement or something like that, right, Shannon?
Well, it's contingent on, because we have to draft the new pieces of the MEO. So once those get drafted, then we come back and then it'll get agreed upon and blah, blah, blah.
So.
Okay, so they don't have to like take it tomorrow and vote on it again. They just can, we just need to draft language and then that language has to be accepted by both sides
Right.
with the 4-day in there. Got it. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
School is going to draft.
No.
Okay.
I'm saying we just as,
Together.
Oh, so negotiations.
Yeah.
To draft. Yeah.
I don't think so.
That's what it,
Julia gave the sections to Wendy that needed to be drafted, which I think is what you have highlighted there.
Okay, so MEO.
So
needs to
MEO.
draft. Okay.
And then we need to be able to agree on
Yeah.
that
Needs to
as,
draft, and then,
Julia gave her
As a-
suggestions about what the school day would look like possibly to Wendy, and so they're working on it.
and then
So
bring
sh-
negotiations. Okay, that's what I thought, but I was, sorry.
okay, thank you. Because I was thinking we were putting the cart before the horse a little bit if we're talking language, if we haven't actually approved it. But I'm assuming you guys will agree on that, right? The 4
I mean, the
days.
staff has already voted for 4 days.
That's
Right, I know, but I know there's always something that can happen, like, you know, kind of buyer's remorse, like, oh, wait a minute, we didn't think about this thing, like, you know what I mean? Let's
All
not
right, we
make
have
it
15 more minutes for Katie has to leave.
Okay,
Okay,
and I can.
so
say later too if
start down
you-
our list, Shannon
Go
or
ahead.
Cami.
Where am I starting? Point.
Okay, this
Just
is hers,
our-
and this is ours. So you,
Oh,
you already talked
this
about,
one.
you already talked about that and that.
Yeah,
So,
and this we've already
so that
talked
goes
about.
with that. These two things here.
But isn't that depending on whether or not we do that?
Mm-mm.
It
Oh,
sounds like you
for
guys are
this.
talking in code. Okay.
Okay, so
You guys can probably read what it says on here.
it says raise maximum sick days before they have to move to the bank. It's
It's
currently
50.
55 days. So our suggestion is to go up to 70 days.
Okay,
So you guys can accumulate more in your own personal discretionary leave bank. So that when you retire or leave the district, you
get more.
actually get more money
okay,
because you only get paid out 25%,
okay.
right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay.
I'm not fully up to speed, but yes.
And
And
the
then-
next one is based on a 4-day.
Based on a 4-day, we would do away with the personal days if we go to a 4-day, and then the certified staff would get 12 discretionary days.
So you want to take it from
So last year,
16
yeah.
to 12 because we're going to 4-day. Correct?
yes,
Okay.
because last year it was 12 sick and 4 personal, and then we merged them all to 16 discretionary.
2, 8, 4-day. Okay, I
But
just
they-
gotta make sure I write it correctly, so.
Yeah, but the give there is that, yes, it would be taking those days away because now it's 4-day, but it would also raise your maximum sick days. So you could accumulate more personally.
Okay.
Before
So
having to move
raise
them over.
55 to 70 and then take 16 to 12.
Mhm. Because your hours in a day are more. So when she calculates those
Mhm.
hours, it actually comes out more, right? So
Yeah.
each day, more per day.
I mean, to me, it makes sense. Like
Yeah. We trust Shannon and she said it and we're like, that's brilliant.
Right.
And actually, it was Trevor Only Bissell when he was
Oh, there you go.
like, he
Trevor's-
said,
Okay, I don't want to say Trevor's brilliant because no, I'm just kidding. Yes, he's
Yeah.
thought all this through well.
So also in the past, we have had that retirement incentive stipend. So would like to remove that and spend that money on the people that are staying rather than those that want to leave us.
Wait, so incentive.
So we want to like recuse that offer, basically.
I'm sorry.
Remove retirement incentive stipend.
oh, and the rest was just my brain. You
Right.
don't have to read that.
And I do know that we are to request that every year, so I do know that they would like to
Yeah.
request that we keep it, but I will let them know
No,
that
there's
you
no
would
way.
like to.
Sorry.
Would like to
Just
remove
because
retirement incentive
Yeah.
stipend.
It's $12,000. So if we don't have to
Mhm.
reserve that for somebody who might retire, we could reinvest that money into the people that are staying.
So
would that look?
Sorry to.
so we could use that towards raises or whatever, like
Mhm.
whatever in the
Sorry,
budget.
I'm just trying to write the
You're
notes so that I
fine.
don't.
I
Right.
should say be possibly used towards raises.
Okay.
Or yeah, we want to redistribute it to people who are staying and not people who are choosing to leave, right? Because they're already getting their retirement.
All
So
right, so I do know that.
we're just trying to look for some creative ways to find pockets of money to be able to bring those things up, right? Without, because, a lot of times we've offered that incentive, we set it aside and then no one takes it. But we'd rather just maybe not have to set it aside this year. It is still in play for this current school year though, correct?
Yeah, but the
No, it's over
the
now.
date has passed.
Okay, okay, thank you.
For now, do you have to roll over that 12,000 or can you go spend it?
It's probably already spent.
Okay, don't say that.
She didn't say
So
that.
here's the deal, we offer it and
For
then we
this
hope we.
year, right? You can't roll over money anyway, but due
It's kind of
to
like,
a certain child that came, we had to hire an additional person, and that ate up a lot of that money.
budget.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And those are the things as somebody that's responsible for that. And I told the taxpayers we would do everything we could. That's the part that scares me. And I'm like, Shannon, I trust you and I trust your numbers, but it still scares me. It
Mhm.
scares me because we have
Yeah.
had years where we've had a lot of children that needed extra help. And what do? Sorry, you can't have that extra help in your classroom, even though you need it, because we don't have the money.
Well, I definitely.
You know what I mean? Like that's
Well, I
the hard
experienced
part.
that 3 years ago.
And that's the hard part. We don't want to put
Yeah.
any of our teachers in that
Sure.
situation.
I mean, I had 22, 23 kids by myself. It was a lot,
Mm-hmm.
a lot. I definitely feel that. Is that all that you wanted? Were just those top three? For me to take back?
Was there three?
Yeah.
well, some of the other
Well,
things are going to depend on
That just
what comes
depends.
of the STARS Act, right?
Yeah.
Right, I just meant right now, Sherry.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Because
for
we're
sure.
trying to figure out ways of,
Because I know that things are gonna be tricky this year.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh,
um,
sorry,
And
go
I'm
ahead.
trying to do this in a timely manner, but it does take a lot of time, so it might, and I know you're going on vacation, but this might just have to be a multi-Zoom situation.
yeah.
So really the only thing left though is the STARS Act, which you guys are voting on tomorrow, right?
Yes.
So
Mhm.
then after that, we could meet again to talk about the money piece and
Yeah.
get that ironed out.
And the 4-day week language. One of the things I'd like to bring up for 4-day, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. I think I've mentioned it to Cami and Shannon both, is the whole idea of to me, one of the beauties of having a 4-day school week is you have more opportunities to, instead of having just staff meetings, you get rid of those and you have those like half day once a month on your day that you're not attending school, trainings, professional learning communities, those kinds of things that are ongoing throughout the year. And as it stands currently, if we're only using PIR days, then you've got to re-proportion those and you end up with having, I think the way Julia answered it was maybe like 4 of those Fridays, half days. But to me, meeting once a quarter is probably not going to be a great benefit if you're trying to do some things over time. So is there a way, if let's say we end up flexing your workday like you guys are asking for, so essentially we're shortening your overall hours, we're not having staff meetings, could we perhaps look at some half day, I don't know what you call them, not PIRs necessarily, but teacher work days or staff meeting days or right, like flexing that time a little bit, not all of it.
Together to meet, we have like 2 hours for the PIR, like for whatever, 2 hours every other month.
Yeah, we split it
So-
up well, I was gone during that portion, but I do believe it was built
Right.
into the calendar already
Yeah.
to be proposed.
But it's like once a quarter, right?
No,
It's
No,
it's
every
more often.
other month
yeah,
is what we.
That's once a quarter. That's once a quarter. Quarter is 8 weeks, 9 weeks.
I thought the core. Well, here's the thing. So we're making the days, school days longer. We don't know what time we're getting here when we're leaving. We don't know if we're gonna get a raise. We're already down 3 teachers and we have to cover it up, but then you want us to come in on our days off. So I'm not sure how that's gonna go over.
So I guess I'm thinking of like the part of your current contract that says you can be required to have 1 staff meeting per week for an hour after school's out. If we took that away and instead moved it to a half day once a month on a Friday, some of those could be PIRs and some of those could just be staff meetings. I don't know. That's what I'm just thinking of. Could we? In fact, I think the total hours, you would put in would still be less, because if we're flexing the start and end time of your workday and we're eliminating all of the staff meetings,
Thank you.
I don't want you to work more hours. I want you to still work less, but still have that benefit of
The-
having
the
that
90
time.
minutes a week.
So you guys have right here, 7.4, teachers may be required to attend a maximum of one scheduled professional staff meeting per week, not to exceed 90 minutes beyond student
90
dismissal.
minutes. See, so yeah,
That's an hour
that
and a
was
half per week. So if it's 4,
Mhm.
then that's 1 to 6 hours.
Okay, so
Right.
that's
A
one of
month,
the things we have
basically.
to look at
So
basically. with the
7.4.
for
4 days.
sure,
Okay,
for sure.
yeah.
And that's going to depend on a lot of things. And I'm not saying it would need to be a full day every month. I'm
Okay.
saying
Yeah.
What do
whether
you,
you wanted to do a full day every other month or a half day every month or something. Like, I just feel like knowing how like
Nope, full day every
PLCs
other
work.
month.
okay.
Or a
every-
half day. Sorry, Sherry, I'm summarizing for Michelle. She's trying
I'm
to
sorry.
frantically take notes.
No. I'm okay. I'm not saying this is how it would have to be at
Oh,
all.
or a
I'm
half
way
day
willing to be flexible.
Every
I'm
month.
just kind of I'm thinking out loud here. So
Because
like if it was
every
6
other month, or
hours,
quarterly, like you guys are already.
right? So if it's like 6 hours a month that you're not staying after
So
school,
would
Okay.
make up for
you
that
could like
hour and a
you
half.
could
Make up for
Right.
7.4, yes.
Would make,
right.
okay.
Because that would be
So
the
you-
beauty of having that extra day is that you
Right,
have to
yeah.
stay longer once a week and do all that stuff.
Mhm.
Right.
Knock it out in a couple hours on a Friday type of thing, and
Right.
then
Right.
you still.
And it could even be, depending on the month, like a couple of those hours could be record keeping, PIR type things like you already have built in. And then other times it might be where you're actually doing a half day training of some kind. And then other times it might just be like pretty flexible, like collaborating with K-8 on science or whatever your discussions are. if
So
that makes
Sherry,
sense.
you and I are on the exact same wavelength because I've already talked to Julia and I said this would be because our school is struggling with PIR and that is literally the hill I'm going to die on this year because
Yes.
I'm not being presented with enough opportunities. I
Yes.
feel like to accomplish
Mhm.
the amount of PIR without going literally above and beyond on OPI, which nobody wants to do that because then you spend
Right.
20 hours getting 4 hours. Anyway,
Mhm.
so
Yeah, I'm glad we're on the same page. And yeah, and I'm way flexible on how we can accomplish that. But to me, that was one of the biggest like benefits of going to this schedule is you could have some dedicated time where you're away from kids. You can just focus on the training or the meeting or the whatever. And then I think I think it's a requirement at the state that you have a professional development plan for the year. You guys should, I think your leadership team does create that or does help Julia create that, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we do have one already set up. But I
Yes,
did talk to
right. And so
Julia-
you could,
Oh,
yeah, you could take your, I'm sorry, I was just thinking, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. You could take your focus area. I get excited about this kind of stuff because then it comes into like curriculum and like all my fun stuff. But I'm just thinking you could like have your focus areas for the year and then figure out how you're going to do those throughout the year, right? And I mean, I don't even care if you'd want to do like one PIR day before school starts instead of two, and then use some of that. You know what I mean? Like I'm okay with being flexible, and I get that you guys don't want to work. You're already going to be working long days. We don't want you to have to commit to working a ton more hours. In fact, I think the net is going to be fewer hours. I just want to see more professional development and meeting, not just meeting to meet, but like purposefully intentional
Value.
meetings.
added.
Yes, value added meetings, right?
Well,
So-
because that 90 minutes a week is usually meant for like the school-wide success meeting or the student
Correct.
success meeting, right? So are you
Correct.
saying like we get rid of those?
I'm saying you do those on those.
On those
Mhm.
And we should be able to somehow get actual PIR for them.
Correct. For
So-
some of them. It
So I
depends on what you're doing.
Julia
It depends on what you're doing. If you,
curriculum
yeah.
committee meetings and actually like diving into curriculum,
Right.
like, and that's like, those are the
Right.
times that you can dig into data, what is working, what is not working.
Exactly.
Actually, or-
Exactly. So you can get renewal units for a whole lot of things, but you can't always call it PIR, right? It has to be on a non-school day to be PIR. So
Right.
that's where this would be beautiful. You could have some additional opportunities to call it PIR. Like, you know what I mean? And maybe some of them could even be optional, but opportunities instead of going to the October days, have it built in. You know what I mean? Just put some thought into. I just wanted to plant the seed. I don't want it to be this adversarial thing. And I'm not going to this is not a hill I'm going to die on. If you guys end up going with once every quarter you're having a meeting, okay. But then you have to meet after school sometimes to get the other things done, right? I don't care how you want to do it. I just want to, I want to make it, I want you to think about how do you guys want this to work for you? that's going to
And I
both
think we
benefit you and the
originally had
students.
talked about that, when Julia brought it to us at the calendar meeting, she said we would be doing all of our meetings on those PR days. So, but yeah, we can.
Okay.
definitely
Yeah.
come.
I mean, just think about it. Cause I know if I don't meet with somebody, if I only meet bi-monthly on a topic, I forgot what I did 2 months ago. It's really hard to build on the next
How
steps
it
if
is
you're not
with
meeting
girlfriend
more
days.
often, right?
You know, the crazy thing is about that, like doing the board walkthroughs and talking to people. You'd be shocked how many people were like, there's too many meetings, there's not enough meetings, there's too many meetings, there's not enough meetings. Like it went like
Yeah.
Every other
people
person.
that
Yeah.
want more and some people that are like, it's too much. So it's like you have to
Oh.
find that happy
Well,
medium.
I do get both though. So here's
Yes.
my issue is that we're on different committees, but every
Yes.
meeting lands on the same week. So
Mhm.
if I'm part
Okay.
of 3 or 2 committees, I'm meeting 3 days a week. And where we wanted it at the beginning of the year, where it was staggered to where you had maybe one meeting a week, to where
Mhm.
schedule
Yes.
now has, you're on a committee this week and a staff meeting. Well, now you have 2 days.
Mhm.
And you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, so it's not being designed.
Yeah.
to
I feel
benefit.
like that would just be a scheduling, like you said, design. That's a good word, designed, like intentionally designed with
Yeah.
the
Kind of all
administrator
the
and
time,
maybe
like
the
it
reps.
lands all at once. Like this week, we have
Right.
this meeting, and then we have our MEO meeting, then we have a staff meeting, then I have a beauty meeting, and then we have Friday. So I have
Beauty
4 meetings.
Yeah.
They're gonna be beautiful.
Right.
Oh.
And I do feel like, and I do feel like
You could
Sorry.
skip your beauty meeting, Michelle. You could skip that one.
So the exception to what I'm talking about here, I think would probably be IEP meetings, which, there's probably no way to put them all on a Friday once a month. Like that's not reasonable, right?
Well, and I think it
Sometimes
was
you're gonna-
against contract, I believe, at one point, because we said we wanted it specifically, but technically it has to be when the parents.
It's against the law, not.
Yeah, like it has
Well,
everything to do
yeah.
with parental. I don't know. Marcia came and
Exactly.
talked at the beginning of the year about it.
When the
So okay, I know this is being recorded, but I'm going to go on record and say I don't necessarily agree with Marcia's take on that law. I think what it pretty much says is you need to make reasonable accommodations to work with their schedule and give them some preferred time options. But that I don't think that trumps your teacher contract and makes it so like if the only time a parent can meet is 7:30 p.m. on a Sunday night, that you have to do that. I don't think it's that flexible. I think it's just like you have to.
I think it
you
has
have
to
to
be
make-
within your Monday through Friday situation. Like I think it has to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but I've heard, maybe it wasn't her, but I've heard other special ed specialists say, if 6 a.m. is the only time the parent can meet, then you are required to be there. And I'm like,
Nope.
no.
We've heard that too.
No. I know, and I
Any
don't agree.
parent who's
I don't
awake
agree.
at 6 a.m. for a meeting is not my.
Right, I know.
Okay.
Okay, that's you know what I'm saying.
At our
though.
next meeting.
Yeah.
Can we set our next meeting date before we leave?
I
Yes.
don't think, well, ooh,
Because you're meeting with them tomorrow.
that is true.
I can meet Friday.
So that's a different count.
As my schedule's flexing by the day because I'm, with a relative in
Right.
a hospital situation. I'm scheduled to fly home Friday, so it might depend on the time of day. I may be able to do it in the morning, but probably not any time like afternoon. So
Oh, Friday. I feel like something was on Friday.
Nerf Wars is Friday after school.
Oh, you know what?
Oh,
Friday I do have to leave. Let's not.
okay.
what about Thursday?
Thursday, I work till 7 at night.
And I have a game at.
Okay.
5.
Could we do
What's wrong with
Does Mondays work?
Wednesday?
Wednesday's my
Wednesday? I
birthday.
can't. We have a staff meeting, but I also have an appointment.
Oh, pretty
So Monday is board meeting, correct?
Okay, Monday is the board meeting. Monday the 12th is the board meeting. Yes.
We could meet before the board meeting or something.
that.
Katie, what time do you have to
that
leave on Monday?
I
Monday's the 12th.
have no baseball. I just have soccer, so I could go till 4:45, like this.
Same time.
Same time.
Okay.
So right after.
So
that
you and
work?
I skip that?
Yeah.
Oh, is that the PTO? meeting?
PTO meeting.
Well, I'll skip
Totally
it 'cause
fine,
I'm
yeah.
in there too.
Mm-hmm.
We're good.
Mhm.
And we really don't have
We
anything
don't have
coming
anything
up.
to talk about,
So we can just skip our PTO meeting. Okay.
I can move it.
And then just real quick, are you guys, after you vote tomorrow, you'll let us know how that went before Monday, right?
Yes,
I-
I
yeah.
can do that.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
we can
Okay.
do that. Yep.
What did you
Thank
say,
you.
4:45?
She has to leave by
I have to
4:45.
So
Can
we
Oh, so we're gonna do 3:30.
To 4:45.
we do 3:30?
Yes.
I can do
So
3:30.
I told Julia that I needed somebody to take my slot for my evening duty so that I could do this. So
Okay.
I have it covered.
Nice. All right. Well,
Okay.
thank you guys for
Okay.
all the
May
effort and
12th,
work you put into getting prepared for
2025
this.
at 3:30.
Yes. Thank you,
3:30.
Carrie. I appreciate
guys.
you all you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, your
Thank you.
prayers are with you.
I have
Thank you so
shared
much.
this document with all of you, and you are able to not edit, but comment on it. So if I got something wrong, please comment on there.
I highly
I'm
doubt.
gonna let
Okay.
you know. that you got-
Oh, I have to stop the recording.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
And
Thank
Katie,
you.
I did hear you, and thank you so